Plainfield, Wisconsin, in the 1950s, was the kind of place where life seemed to move slowly. Everyone knew each other, doors were left unlocked, and trust was almost an unspoken rule. Children ran freely through dirt roads, and Sundays were sacred. Church, conversations in the town square, and the smell of fresh bread drifting out of kitchens. It was a small town, but with a big heart, and as sheriff, I felt proud to preserve that peace. But I learned the hard way that even the quietest towns can hide unimaginable secrets. Ours had a name, Ed Gein. Ed was a quiet, solitary man. You'd see him at the hardware store, at the gas station, or driving his beat-up truck with his eyes fixed on the ground. He lived alone on the farm he inherited from his parents, a lonely patch of land where in winter the fields lay buried under snow, as if the world had forgotten them. After the death of his mother, Augusta, Ed became even more withdrawn. She had been the center of his life, strict, domineering, and deeply religious. When Augusta died, Ed locked her room and left it untouched, a shrine frozen in time. Over the years, whispers began to spread. Some said they had seen him wandering the cemetery at night, lantern in hand. Others claimed certain graves appeared disturbed, especially those of recently buried women. But in a small town, where rumors are plenty and proof is scarce, most people chose not to believe. They were stories told in hushed voices, as if speaking them aloud might make them real. November 16, 1957, was the day everything changed. That morning, my mother, Bernice Warden, opened the hardware store as she always did. She was an organized woman, meticulous, recording every sale in neat handwriting. But that afternoon, when I stopped by, the store was empty. The cash register had been forced open, and in the sales ledger, one final name appeared, Ed Gein. The floor seemed to collapse beneath me. I immediately alerted my partner, Captain Art Sheely, and we pulled together a team. Driving out to Ed's farm that night was an experience I will never forget. The road was silent, muffled by snow that swallowed every sound. The sky was dark, starless, and suddenly the house appeared in the distance, isolated, its windows boarded, exuding an air of abandonment that chilled us to the bone. What we found there became one of the most unsettling discoveries in American criminal history, even without describing it in detail. The floor creaked beneath our boots, and it felt as if we were walking into a place trapped in time. Disorder was everywhere. In the main room, piles of yellowed newspapers, rusted tools, and boxes sat untouched for years. The kitchen was a mess of dirty dishes, spoiled food, and corroded utensils. It all spoke of neglect, but also something more, a suffocating unease. Yet when we reached Augusta's room, we found a jarring contrast. Everything there was immaculate. The curtains were perfectly hung, the bed carefully made, and a Bible rested neatly on the nightstand. It was as if Ed had sanctified that room, while the rest of the house rotted into decay. Other rooms revealed even greater horrors. We came across objects that did not belong to the world of the living. What we found were sinister items, crafted from his nighttime raids in the cemetery, transformed into things that should never exist. Utensils, decorations, even furniture, fashioned with human remains. In his bedroom, even the bedposts were adorned with such remains, as though he had wanted to surround himself with the macabre. The most devastating discovery awaited us in the shed. There lay my mother, Bernice Warden, lifeless. The way she had been found resembled the gestures of a hunter with his prey. The impact struck me with indescribable force. My legs gave way, my breath faltered, and Art had to hold me upright to keep me from collapsing. That image haunts me every time I close my eyes, and I know it always will. When we finally apprehended Ed, he didn't resist. I remember him sitting there, his face calm, almost detached, as if he didn't grasp the weight of what he had done. He confessed to 2 murders and admitted that at night he visited cemeteries, digging up women who resembled his mother. He said he wanted to feel close to her, even to become her. He acknowledged the death of Mary Hogan, a tavern keeper who had gone missing years before. And although there were speculations of far darker practices, he denied them coldly. The discovery shattered the entire community. Families who once left their doors unlocked now bolted them at dusk. Children no longer played in the streets. Neighbors who had once shared pews with Ed wondered how they had never noticed. Our town, once known for its tranquility, would forever be remembered for an unspeakable darkness that marked American history. For those of us who entered that farm, the scars were invisible but deep. I carried on, bound by duty, but my partner, Art Shelley, could not. What we saw slowly consumed him. He turned to drinking, lost his composure, and his mind faded over the years. He died young, crushed by memories he could never escape. I've always believed that Ed Gein didn't just destroy lives through his crimes. He dragged down those who had to face the truth he left behind. Ed was declared legally insane and committed to a psychiatric institution. He spent the rest of his life there until July 26, 1984, when he died at the Mendota Mental Health Institute at the age of 77 from respiratory failure caused by advanced cancer. He was buried in Plainfield Cemetery in the same plot as his family, beneath an unmarked grave, erased to prevent it from becoming a shrine. As for his farm, the place where the horrors came to light, it was never lived in again. In 1958, it was set to be auctioned, but before that could happen, a fire consumed the house, reducing it to ashes. No one was arrested, though many in Plainfield believed it had been deliberate, an attempt to erase that cursed ground. Today, nothing remains of Ed Gein's farm, yet his story spread far beyond Plainfield. The horrors of that farm gave birth to some of the most famous monsters in cinema. His name inspired Norman Bates in Psycho, Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Buffalo Bill in The Silence of the Lambs. Decades later, echoes of his deeds can still be felt in franchises like Halloween and House of a Thousand Corpses. His crime was no longer just a police case. It became the blueprint for a new horror archetype: the lone killer, isolated in his dark world, turning real life into a cinematic nightmare. It may have inspired Hollywood for some, but for us, it was a wound too real to ever forget, and I survived to tell.